Hello, folks. Today I'm going to draw a cartoon about the convention delegate selection process, all of Donald Trump's angry criticism of the Republicans seems to me to be pretty good arguments. So this is a Donald Trump supportive cartoon, and let's get going. Here's your claps. All right, so today I am drawing North Korea's Kim Jong Un, and he is making all of the arguments that the establishment Republicans are making in response to Donald Trump's criticism. Oh, look at my big... Sorry about that. That was my my microphone. I see I need to have a little bit more setup that I need to do here. So let's do that. Okay. So thank you for joining me today. This was actually the rough sketch that I did on a scrap of paper for this cartoon, and then I sketched it up real quick because it's not really that much about the drawing as it was about the writing, and so I had to think about what I wanted Kim Jong Un to say in each of these speech balloon boxes around him, and I was futzing around with that a bit. So I thought that the process of sketching this one up wasn't quite live stream material. So anyway, Kim Jong Un is saying you're going to read from upper left to lower right, so we're probably going to start with this box. The convention rules have been in place for years. There's been no changes. The party leaders make the rules, not the voters. Yes, you can bribe the delegates. The leaders control the process, so nothing unusual happens. It's your responsibility to know the rules. I should emphasize your. And quit complaining. So it just occurred to me that all of these Republican defenses of the convention are things that could just as well come out of Kim Jong Un's mouth in defense of the North Korean party convention rules. So that's the point of this cartoon. Anyway, a lot of lettering to this cartoon. I'll get it going. Just a second. I need to get some pictures of Kim Jong Un up here on the screen. Kim Jong Un images. So, in case you're wondering, this is what I'm looking at on the screen in front of me. Google Images, so that I can get a likeness of little Kim in this puppy. Let's see, should I move over a little bit that way? Maybe that's better. I don't know. So just getting a little more set up here. Excuse me for a minute. Alright, I think I'm good. Excuse me. So please comment, please follow, don't sit so quietly. You can get me to chat while I do this. So So, vellum goes down on the rough sketch. I redraw, I do not trace. So this is part of the drawing process, not a tracing process. Where's my tape? If you would like to see more of my past videos and more cartoons, just go to darylcagle.com and you'll see an archive of past cartoons and YouTube videos of my Twitch live streams. And I do appreciate your following, because I don't have many followers. Glasses. Alright. So, the thing to do here, I think I'm going to do lettering in a number 2 pencil, because the lettering's kind of big and thick. And I try to stick with the harder pencil, but it's more for details. You know, it's hard for me to talk while I do lettering. I tend to be a little dyslexic, write down the wrong letter if I'm talking about something. So thank you for your follow this morning, Syntax Era. I appreciate the follow. Of course, I draw from right to left, and that's to keep my hand from dragging through the pencil. Syntax Era writes, been a fan of your work and realized you were on Twitch. Ah, well, excellent. Nice to see you here. I appreciate it. I don't like computer fonts in cartoons. I think they really killed the life of the cartoon. You want to know that everything comes out of the artist's hand. So I do my lettering. Got a couple of more cartoons queued up here, as I've been busy with business stuff and falling behind on my cartoon schedule a little bit. I'm gonna draw one of Obama kissing the butt of the Saudi king, because he's hiding their 28 pages of culpability in the 9/11 Commission report and presumably blocking that bill that allows victims to sue Saudi Arabia. So I don't like that. So an Obama bashing cartoon, and I'll probably draw a Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill cartoon. Leaders control the process, so nothing. Unusual can happen. I've got a piece of sandpaper over here on the right, in case you're wondering. So, folks are quiet today. Oh, Comey! Nice to see you here. I'm not getting a big audience on Twitch, but I like that we have regulars who pop into my unannounced live streams. I like seeing the same folks keep showing up. So thank you, Okomi. I've got my Flint, Michigan water. I think I'm going to need some crosshatchy background behind these speech balloons in order to make them pop a little bit. Klingon warrior! Very good. Nice to see you here. Actually, I don't email about these. I tweet, and we also have a pop-up window that shows up on Kaggle.com. There's usually a few dozen people looking at cartoons on Kaggle.com at any given minute, and that was really my plan for getting people to see these. But I find that the audiences are different. People who want to watch live streams, not necessarily the ones who want to look at cartoons. See, I draw hard with the soft pencil, so I get crud. Thank you, Okomi. Yes, you can bribe. So the Harriet Tubman cartoon, I think, is going to be just her foot, and she's kicking Andrew Jackson off of the $20 bill. Andrew Jackson is a homeboy from my adopted hometown of Nashville, Tennessee. And he had plenty of slaves and was largely responsible for the Trail of Tears and all the poor Native Americans who were killed, being driven out of their native lands, and passed right by his slave plantation. But he didn't ever go out and take a look at his Trail of Tears. Just stayed in the house. Yes, you can bribe the delegates. So, I like kicking him off of the $20 bill in favor of Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman's a good choice. And it's nice they decided to do that, since they were talking so much about who to put on the $10 bill, when really it's not just a decision of who to put on the money, but rather who to take off the money. And it looks like they got that message. So, government responds. That's kind of nice. Don't usually get that kind of good response. People choosing to do the right thing. Alright. Kim Jong Un. I think he's got a baby face. Sinister looking eyes. Okay. Alright. Okomi writes, "Is that Cruz?" You see similarity between Kim Jong Un and Ted Cruz? It's funny, most of the cartoons making a dictatorship kind of argument are Hitler cartoons about Trump. Again, the idea of this cartoon is that, Trump is complaining about the Republican convention delegate selection process being corrupt. And it's notable to me that the response from Reince Priebus and the Republican establishment defenders are all of these arguments which could just as easily come out of Kim Jong-il's mouth, defending the North Korean political party convention delegate selection rules. So that's why this cartoon. we're going to label him. I'm presuming everybody knows they're Kim Jong-il. Actually, that's wrong. Comey writes, I just loved how his low numbers went after the party just avoided the people's votes. I'm not sure I'm familiar with that. He's all about the hair, huh? His hair is pretty funny. Okay. I'm being generous about giving him that little curl, because there aren't many pictures of him with that. And that helps his terrible hair. Ah, Comey, you mean how Cruz keeps picking up those delegates from places that didn't vote for him? Yeah. It does seem undemocratic. I think a big problem that Trump has with the party establishment is that there are all these spoils that traditionally go with a party's presidential victory. About 3,000 or 4,000 political appointments in Washington. And I don't think Trump can be depended on to make all those political appointments go to Republican Party loyalists, as they can probably still depend on Cruz larding out the pork to the politically faithful, even though they don't like him. I think I'm going to have to give him a gray tone in the suit, or I'm not going to get good, interesting stuff happening with the suit, so I don't want to have to black it in. Comey writes, what do you think will happen if the party doesn't give Trump the candidacy? I think the party is already pretty well split and broken up. I'm not sure how much worse it would be for them if they just ignore the voters. Lots of nice drama, though. People are funny when they get interested in politics. They all say, oh, wow, this must be a good time for you. So much to draw about, everybody interested in stuff. But, you know, there's still one friggin' empty hole on the editorial page for an editorial cartoon every day. Even when news is interesting or when news is not interesting. And we don't find people buying more cartoons when news is interesting. Demand remains the same. So no, interesting times do not translate into being good for business. There is no change. Cartoon Man, nice to see you here. Cartoon Man writes, my local paper used to run about a half dozen political cartoons each Sunday, sort of a look back at the week's news topics. Not anymore, though. Yeah, they're cutting down on their square inches. Does your local paper subscribe to my cartoon service, Cartoon Man? What's your local paper? Cartoon Man writes, I believe so. Bay Area News Group, San Jose Mercury News, Oakland Tribune, and others. Yep, that's good. We're in the Bay Area News Group. I guess the Oakland Tribune has met their demise, huh? We're in all that group of newspapers that surround San Francisco Bay, the Bay Area News Group, but not in the San Francisco Chronicle because they compete, you know. Oh, you used to work for the Oakland Tribune, Cartoon Man? Are you an old newspaper guy? What did you do there? Marketing department from 89 to 2004. Goodness. Are you still in the newspaper biz? What do you do now, Cartoon Man? Tribune Tower was such a cool building to walk into. Felt like Clark Kent going into the Daily Planet each day, writes Cartoon Man. There's a nice tower on the skyline. I don't think I've ever been inside there. Now you're with Kid Scoop, a children's newspaper activity page. Oh, that's nice. So do they sell that as an insert for newspapers, or is it a content service? Does it have cartoons? We're thinking of hiring a part-time marketing person. So, Kid Scoop's a content page. How many newspapers do you have that subscribe? And are you with a syndicate? Tough times for folks in the content business. I'm going to need to do background crosshatch. 198 papers, that's great, especially these days. 198 papers is very good. Should I put a label on him? Could put a little Kim on his pocket. I think I am. I hate labels, but I'll put a little Kim on his pocket because it doesn't seem to detract. Call me a sissy for putting a label on Kim Jong Un. I call cartoonists who use labels sissies. Lil Kim, I like that too. I can put a Lil L apostrophe I L. Lil Kim. That's kind of funny. So after this one, I've got Obama kissing the Saudi king's butt and Harriet Tubman. Maybe I'll do 2 cartoons today. This one's going pretty fast. It's going to be easy to color as well. Pop-out player option on Twitch or the pop-out option on Kaggle.com is not working well. Actually, I have a Twitch window open all the time over here on the right, and it looks to me like just a second ago it was frozen. Everything working good? Let me know. Yeah, I have a pop-up window on Kaggle.com that should be working okay. I haven't checked it with this stream. I just turned it on. Pencil cup. you know, it's interesting. Most of the time I try to draw wordless cartoons. But, you know, every so often you want to do a wordy one. This one's certainly a wordy one, about as wordy as I get. But I typically try to avoid the wordy cartoons. They don't work well internationally. This one's not going to get picked up by the foreign papers. Cartoon Man writes, do your cartoons ever get translated for foreign markets? We have a Spanish language cartoon service that you can see at kegelcartoons.com/Spanish. And we have some pretty good Spanish language newspapers, although they tend not to be foreign Spanish language papers. We've got La Opinión in Los Angeles. That's the biggest Spanish language paper. We've got the Washington Hispanic in D.C. We've got what it is, La Prensa del Dia or something. I'm forgetting what it was. The big one in New York, in Brooklyn. But not much luck with the foreign papers with the Spanish cartoons. They don't like to pay their bills, we have found out. We've got some that we let hang on because they paid a bill occasionally and they've gotten way behind. The other foreign papers, we do have some foreign papers that subscribe. They tend to not translate the cartoons. They run them in the original English and they may put a translation in an explainer or a caption with the cartoon, which is kind of nice. It's a wonderful French news magazine called Courrier International, which makes the French cartoonists mad because they have a top news magazine in France that runs that's all full of editorial cartoons, but only by foreign cartoonists, meaning non-French cartoonists, which annoys the French cartoonists. But they're very nice. They're part of the Le Monde group, and they also get us into other papers throughout France that are part of the Le Monde group. And they also very nicely print the cartoons with in English with captions that translate. That Man Walker writes, what are your thoughts on the New York voter debacle? I think it's bureaucratic ineptness, and it probably didn't have any impact on the Hillary's win outcome. And I'm really more concerned about voter debacles where it's something the Republicans organize in order to disenfranchise likely Democrat voters, where it's a matter of Democrats disenfranchising Democrat voters just because of incompetence. It doesn't bother me as much as the photo ID, birth certificate stuff that the Republicans do. So, nah, it didn't bother me too much. Everything is relative. I think they're just incompetent, and they have developed a skill set that allows them to deal with elections that not many people are interested in. So when people start getting interested, oh, bloody hell, how do we deal with this? Oops, just happened to lose all of these voters. Okay, his feet look like they're different shapes, but I'm not sure it bothers me enough to fix. I was drawing each foot without looking at the other foot. But, you know, he had ankle surgery. He's probably got one foot bigger than the other foot, so what the hell? I'm going to be through with this in just a second, and then I'm going to put up the timer again. I'll be gone for about 10-15 minutes scanning this. Then I shall come back, and you'll see this in the screen view, and I will color it in Photoshop. And that will take another 45 minutes. Cartoon Man writes, I was trying to find the finished album art you did several weeks ago. Is that at Kagel.com? Yes. I mean, no, go to darylkagel.com and scroll down. You can see it. What actually happened was, you know, I did that live stream of doing my my Rocker Sons album, which featured his face. And he came back later, a couple weeks later, and says, I really don't want my face on the album cover. Can you take my face out and put hair in front of it? So I redid it. I did another version that you can see on darylkagel.com, and he looks kind of like Cousin It. All hair, no face. He showed me a bunch of classic punk rock albums where what they all have in common, that the guy has hair in front of his face. You don't see the face. It apparently is part of the genre to not see the punker's face on the album cover. So I said, all right. You can see both versions on darylkagel.com. You see, I started out farther to the left on this caption because I knew that as I drew over it, it would get wider. Things get bigger when I draw them each time. Okay. Is that enough? I go with this. to thrash out my Saudi butt kissing cartoon, because that one needs to come next. I'm not quite sure what the wording is for that, so I will thrash that out before I start drawing that one. But that should come up pretty soon. You should be seeing more of me this afternoon and tomorrow. Oh, look how the camera's flopping around. My goodness, you get to see all the mess in here. It's, oof. This looks like a good time for me to stop, as my camera has failed, and you can actually see me in my studio in here, my blue screen. What a deal. Anyway, this has failed, and my camera at the lower left has frozen, so this is a good time for me to scan this and come back. So folks, I will see you soon. I'm gonna put the timer up for now. I'm gonna have to stop streaming for a minute and get this going again. You see, I watch TV while I do this. Get some light. My Flint, Michigan drink. You want to see what the studio looks like? Okay, folks, I'm off for a while. Let me do a couple quick snaps for the recording. 1, 2, and I will see you in a minute when I do the color version here. Thank you much, folks.